Thank you for being here. I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Nick Aquino, and I'm here with Jasmine Hoey and Michael Gennady. I am a cloud endpoint technical specialist, but I'm also a CoPilot champion here in our healthcare and life sciences portion of Microsoft. So we're going to be going over a few things today. Michael, Jasmine, do you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves as well?
Sure. This is Mike Gennady. I'm a principal technology specialist here at Microsoft. I'll be on the Q&A portion so that as people, if you want to post questions, I'll be helping the team to handle those. And then Jasmine.
Hey, so my name is Jasmine Hogue. I am a senior technical specialist and a counterpart to both Nick and Michael. And I will be demoing how you can leverage CoPilot or Microsoft 365 CoPilot to be more productive and get work done.
Awesome. Michael, thank you so much for being our chat monitor. And Jasmine, thank you so much for joining me in the demo experience today. We are super excited. This is a brand new era of compute, and our healthcare organizations are going to benefit greatly from the efficiencies that we'll be able to achieve with this generative AI technology. But before we even go into the demos and discussing about the products, I first want to remind you that our Microsoft Cloud runs on trust. We are extremely, it's very imperative that we present the trust message to our customers, because the data security is what we've been fueling this cloud transformation for a number of years. And that's why we're a successful organization in providing those cloud experiences to our end users, especially in the healthcare industry, where compliance is at the core of what we do in protecting our patient data. Microsoft, when we're talking about generative AI services, and we're talking about the Bing Chat Enterprise and specifically Microsoft 365 Copilot, we want to make sure that our customers understand that we do not train on customer data. These are instances of large language models that run in the cloud that your tenant has specific access to. They're not public access models. Your data does not leave the boundaries of your tenant. It's still the same security that we run with today, and it's protected by the same tools that you're using today. What we're offering is really a generative AI experience that's built on a very powerful search algorithm, and we're going to get into that a little bit. Just a little bit of a statistic for you is that from Gartner, roughly a little bit less than 1% of all data produced in the year 2021 was generated by AI. And Gartner expects that by 2025, in just a mere 1.5 years from now, 10% of all data produced will be produced by AI services. Because this is a pretty strong trend. And what we're seeing is that employees want to use these tools. 85% want the tools that are going to help them to be more agile. I mean, who wouldn't, right? Who doesn't want a better tire, a safer car, a better child seat for that car? Who doesn't want to move faster, more efficiently, and be more productive? It helps with our work-life balance. It helps with our patient care. It helps with the experience of our peers around us. And so these statistics show that this is what people want. And those who have access to those automation tools feel more empowered and more fulfilled, because they can spend more time on doing the things that matter. I joined Microsoft in the healthcare industry because I had worked for 5 years at a Michigan healthcare provider, a university provider. So the patient care experience is why I stayed there for that number of years, and why I'm here at Microsoft. I chose to go into the healthcare business because of this. And automation has been at the core of what I do and perform for my healthcare organizations that I've worked for in my past. So I can truly relate to this sentiment. And with that, we've heard from many of our organizations that this new generative AI technology is something that our employees want. And so with that, we have brought into play the Bing Chat Enterprise service. So if you're not familiar with Bing Chat to begin with, it is the offering that we offer that is similar to the Chat GPT service, which is a generative AI technology where you insert prompts and request information, and it produces information back to you. It's generative AI. It's not general AI. General AI is more of like that Terminator scenario, where it thinks and makes decisions on its own and acts on its own. This is generative AI. You're in charge. It's the data that you put in and you feed it. And the outputs that are produced by it are owned by you. We do not claim ownership of it. It's your proprietary data. You're in control. And really, that's because you're making the decision to utilize the tool. You're making the decision to use the information. It is a great assistance. So with Bing Chat Enterprise, the difference between the consumer edition and the enterprise edition is that we do not save the chat. The chat history is not saved. You can close your browser and reopen it, and you'll see that the data is not there. Again, we do not train on the data from the enterprise service. We also protect the organization data that is attached to the prompting when you enter prompts into Bing Chat Enterprise. It does not save your organizational data, your sign-in. All of that information is stripped from the prompt. So with that, let me show you what Bing Chat Enterprise is and how it can pertain to a day in the life of a clinician. So for time purposes, I put these in here, but I'm going to show you at the end of my demo that this is not fake. But I just wanted to make sure that we could get enough time for Jasmine to show the CoPilot services. So here I have Bing Chat Enterprise pulled up in my demo tenant. And you can see there's a lot of notification here on the screen. Up in the top right, it shows you that you are in the enterprise version. Your data is protected. And down here at the prompt, your data and company data is also protected in this chat. So the first prompt that I'm going to put in is a prompt about a patient that I had met with earlier in the day who claims to have asthma symptoms. So I'm looking for information about articles for asthma in adults. Now, after a few seconds, it produces a list of articles from the Mayo Clinic, JAMA Network, Medical News, multiple resources for this information. And one thing I notice here is indoor allergen mitigation. So my patient had mentioned to me that they have some animals in their home and that they also are an avid gardener. So I asked the prompt to elaborate on allergens. Now you'll notice here I didn't ask them and tell them about a patient. I didn't talk about asthma. It understands because we're having a conversational back and forth. It retains a specific memory for this chat session, and it understands the sentiment and the context at which I'm talking. So it knows from my past prompts where I'm going with this. I also mentioned that my patient has multiple animals in her home and is an avid gardener. So the results that come back from that next prompt talk about many things: pet dander, pollen, dust mites, and then also making some recommendations how to reduce those root causes of her symptoms. So with this information in mind, I also recall that she indicates that her asthma is worse in August, and she also lives in northern Michigan. So I'm looking for specific allergens related to that region and that season. So it pulls up a plethora of information here. And you notice also that in the results, there's references to all of this information so that you can go and verify it yourself, right? We don't want to take these generative AI services and trust them word for word and just blindly follow their instructions. We're a clinician. This is a research opportunity that we have, but we're not going to take their word for it. We're going to validate this information. And here at Microsoft, we call that trust but verify. So it's a great, I have my own personal background, knowledge, experience, education. I can read through this and I understand what sounds correct and what doesn't. So I noticed ragweed is mentioned here, and that it's also something late summer and early fall. Of course, I recall that I have many patients and many of them suffer from ragweed. So after I've researched this information, I've made it my own decision that instead of providing the customer with a very strong steroid, I'd rather start her off with an antihistamine. So from this point, I move over to the sidebar in Edge, which is the Bing Chat Enterprise sidebar icon up here in the top right, that B. This opens, and this is the same Bing Chat Enterprise experience. The difference is that I can interact now with the data on the web page. So I just so happen to be using the Bing Chat Enterprise response, and I'm going to interact with it. I could also pull up a news article here and interact with it, or one of those medical articles. But I really want to take the results from this chat experience that I had with Bing Chat Enterprise, and I want to write an email to our patient to let her know that we're going to be providing a recommendation for her allergies and treat those before we treat the patient with something stronger. So I enter in I hit the compose button in the Bing Chat sidebar. I choose a tone. In this case, I left it the default, which is just a professional tone. I wanted the format to be just a short paragraph. I could have provided, asked the format to be in an email format or bullet points, LinkedIn post, summary. There's lots of choices here. And then the length of the email is to be medium. So once I click the generate draft here, it provides the results of that prompt in the preview section here, where I have a quick copy button. Once I copy that, I've pasted it into this email to get prepared to review, revise, edit, and then send to my patient when I'm ready with it. And right out of the gate, it says here that we're writing to you to inform that your medical history and test results, we're going to be recommending an allergy treatment for you. I didn't even mention anything about histamines, antihistamines. The treatment involves taking a medication that blocks the effect of a histamine, a chemical that triggers allergic reactions in your body. So you can see how intelligent that the service is for me, and it gets pretty darn close to what I want to send. Now I might change this up and put my own words in it. I might remove this link and provide my own link to our own internal or our external website that talks about allergies and antihistamines. So I'm going to trust this data but I'm going to verify it. And I'm going to modify it and suit it and give that human touch to it and send it off to my customer. Now, just to show you that, I did this for demo purposes just to make sure that we didn't run out of time, but I do want to show you that this is my environment, my demo environment right here. So I could take this and I could even go to this link here and take a look at it and see, is this something that's, is this just a big advertisement or what is this, right? It's a Mayo Clinic, so I know who the Mayo Clinic is. But even from here, maybe I want to get a little bit of summary information from this article. I can open up the sidebar. I'm going to clear my chat here and refresh it. So it has a brand new conversational instance. It doesn't have any context or sentiment yet. And I'm going to ask it to summarize this article. I have to specify the article on this website. And you can see in real time, it's writing out the results. I prompted it to summarize the article. Of course, this is talking about bioplastics. It might be picking up from some of the advertisements here. And that's why we don't always demo live. However, you can understand the capabilities that Bing Chat Enterprise has. And if I just scroll back up to my original chat history, oh, there's the rest of the chat that I had open. I'm trying to show you that I did this chat today. So it wasn't truly a live demo. However, I produced it just before this call to make sure that I had it and I didn't have any hiccups, and I was able to give Jasmine as much time as possible. So I'm going to move back to the slide presentation. And Jasmine, do you need me to, at this point, I have one more slide. But Jasmine, if you want to take over the slide after the share after this, go ahead and kick me out. I'll stop sharing and then you can do that. Or if you want, I can just click through the slides for you and you can let me know to move forward.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah.
Two questions that Mauricio asked, and I'm going to unmute him, see if he wants to add to this. What version of ChatGPT is running here? And he wanted to know, is this protected chat available in all browsers? Edge, Safari, Chrome, etc.?
So right now, the chat sidebar is only available in Edge. I can't comment on whether or not Bing Chat is available in Chrome or Safari. Michael, maybe you know that answer, or Jasmine?
Yeah, I was just starting to type it. It's coming to other browsers, including mobile. But today, the initial release was in Edge.
Now, is this also, hi, this is Mauricio with Saul Schwartz. Is this also a separate application that we can run, or is it only browser based?
No, you can actually. So like I have an iPhone, and you can download both for iPhone and for Android. There is a Bing chat app.
Okay.
And so you can download the app, and then you'll see it has a whole bunch of stuff, weather, news, and all that. But in the dead center of it at the bottom is the B for Bing. When you hit that, that invokes the chat. And in fact, I've used that quite frequently when I'm on the go. My wife is asking me questions, or to the last one was actually, she asked me to ask it to write a personal letter to somebody based off of a life event.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Now, is that only if you, like, I see the three different subscriptions there, Bing Chat, Enterprise, and Microsoft 365 CoPilot. Is that same application compatible with all three?
So that application is for Bing Chat. It's the commercial. Okay. Yep.
So then if we're a Microsoft 365 client and we add the CoPilot module, we won't be able to use the Bing Chat app?
So they're totally separate. There's a distinction between Microsoft 365 is your corporate data, whereas Bing Chat Enterprise, which if you have Microsoft 365, you own the rights to it. You just have to enable it. That is the secure version of Bing Chat versus the commercial. So it de-identifies you, de-identifies your organization when you're with the query, and it expunges your query the moment it's gone, and it's internet facing. It does not touch your corporate data.
Awesome. Thank you for the clarification.
Yep.
Right. And so this slide here is showing that distinction. The Bing Chat Enterprise is what you would use for a secure chat experience, but it's still not recommended to paste social security numbers, customer ID information into the chat prompt itself. We're going to dedupe all the organizational data, but it still does use the prompt and generates a search to the public Bing service. So if you do need to be able to copy and paste just raw data, knowing that it might contain sensitive information, then you would definitely want to take advantage of the Microsoft 365 Copilot service, which is what we're going to talk to you about next. So Jasmine, if you'd like, I can click next for you, or you can go ahead and take control.
Yeah, you can go ahead and click
Okay.
next.
All right.
I'm used to using Teams. Hello. Right. So really quickly, I'll go through these really fast. So Microsoft 365 chat. So this is leveraging generative AI within your M365 apps, such as Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and then even in some of our employee experience programs, this platform or modules, it's also going to be coming there. So it leverages the large language models, your graph data, such as chats within your teams, your meetings, email, and then also pulls in information or content from the internet. So it brings all the content together to give a cohesive experience, but still with the peace of mind that your information, your organization's confidential information is secure. The next slide. So now I'm going to jump right into demo. So that was just quick, what is it? And then we're going to get started. So I am going to share my screen. And jump up. Hopefully you should be able to see my screen. Awesome. So where I'm actually starting is in our is in Teams. So this is within Microsoft, we leverage Viva Connections for as our home screen. So I'll just give you a little bit of a scenario. So this is a day in the life of someone who is responsible for an Epic to Azure or Epic on Azure implementation. And so I'm going to walk through how you can leverage Microsoft 365 with CoPilot to get that work done. So from here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into the CoPilot chat. So this is business chat. And here I'm going to ask about who I need to speak with, you know, to about an Epic on Azure implementation and kind of like what's those next steps. So I'm looking internally. Maybe I'm looking internally.
I just met with Hina Patel. She's awesome.
For some reason, I don't know why my team does not unmute because I'm sharing on Zoom. But anyway, I'll put in the request. So actually, I'll do it this way. I'm going to open my Zoom chat in 365. I'll open it here, and you will notice that the chat. I'll just pull it up here. I'll ask the question here. I'll have that information there. I'm going to grab my prompts. Who can I ask? Pop it in there. Who can I speak with about Epic on Azure implementation project and what are the first steps? So I'll put this information in. As you'll notice, it's going to search for content within our organization specific to my requests. Who can I speak with? And it gives you the indication that this is a secure prompt. So then it says, okay, you can speak to Karen Cox or Gretchen Mueller or Hina Patel, as was mentioned earlier. And then it gives me some references to content that I can leverage to see how it's related. And then it gives me some next steps. So if I want to see additional references, it gives me some information on Epic on Azure. This is a SharePoint, internal SharePoint site. And this one is a business case that revolves around it. But it kind of like gives me a next steps for what does that look like. So then I'm going to go to my Outlook and I'm going to send an email to Karen, but I'm not quite sure how I should phrase this email. So I'm gonna ask her, I'm going to ask my chat to give me a email that I can send to Hina about the Azure. That I'm asking, I'm here. They've given me some steps, but I need to ask her, send her an email to kind of get some insight. Maybe as a subject matter expert, I need to ask her a couple of questions. And so I'm just going to put it in there so I don't have to formulate it myself. I can also do this something similar. If I go into Outlook, I can ask the Bing chat to do the same thing. But in this instance, I'm just going to let it, my chat give me an idea. Sure, here's a draft email. Dear Hina, hope this email finds you well to bring significant organization. Okay, yeah, I'll grab that. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to copy that. Come into my Outlook. And then notice here, there's also a draft in CoPilot. So I could ask CoPilot to also draft that email for me, but I just decided to ask it right from within where I was. So I have different options to draft these emails and then have it sent off. So I can just pop that in there. And then maybe as I'm reading over this, maybe I might want to change this a little bit. So I can go to my CoPilot again. Make this a little bigger so you can see. And go to my CoPilot and I can say draft with CoPilot. Notice that it grabs what I previously selected and then I can generate another email based off the content that's already there. So I can just hit generate and it'll regenerate the email maybe in a different way. If I want to, I can ask it to change the tone of the email or maybe put in some additional details if that's something I'm interested in or that I need to add. But one of the beauties is that I can leverage the power of CoPilot from different spaces, depending on where I'm comfortable, working in. So I'm gonna let it continue to draft that. In the meantime, I'm gonna get prepared for my next area. So I'm looking at chat, but you know what? I need to start building a business case for this. So after my meeting with Hina, perhaps she's asking for a business case on why we should do the Epic on Azure migration or implementation. And so I need to build that, but that's going to take a lot. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with the time and effort that it takes to build business cases. It can be a lot. So in this instance, I'm going to let CoPilot help me build that business case. So as you can see here, they wrote the email. Let's say I want to change the tone from neutral, casual, formal, or make it a poem. I'm not going to do any of that, or maybe make it longer. I'm not going to do any of that at all. But as you can see, you can change the different types of direction that CoPilot moves in terms of the length and the tone. And there's some additional features you'll see coming down the line where it can also talk about like sound like me in some instances. So with that being said, I'm going to create a business case. So for that, I'm actually going to move on to Word. So this is Excel, of course, but for those who may not know, there is a secret prompt, not a really secret prompt, but Word.new will open up a new Word document right in the browser for you. So I'm going to create a new Word document, and then I'm going to create a business case based off of what I'm trying to do with an Azure or Epic on Azure implementation. So let me go to my CoPilot. So there's a couple of things. You'll notice that as soon as I come in, the CoPilot prompt opens up. I also opened up CoPilot on the side because I'm going to show you some of the beauties of CoPilot within something that's already created. I'm going to put my prompt in. So I want to create, create. I could be creating a business case for Epic on Azure implementation project. I also need project charter for as well as goals, OKRs, and a potential project. So I'm going to ask it to generate that kind of business plan for me. Once more, business plans, or even not business plans, but even case studies can take quite some time to build. Now, one of the beauties of this, I actually asked it, I'm like, well, what's the cost of an average business case? Like, how much does it cost to build one? And so you can look at a business case costing from $10,000 to $50,000+ just to build a business case for a project. That's including the persons that would be working, as well as the time that it takes to do the research and whatnot. And so here I'm letting CoPilot do it. Now, one of the great things about this, so you already saved what, $10,000 to $50,000 right there, just filling the business case. Of course, you have to go, as Nick mentioned, trust but verify. So in this instance, I'm letting it do the business case for me. And so what I actually tested this out a little earlier because one of the aspects of my background, so I come from a program management background. So there are some things that I'm always looking for when it comes to different programs or different projects that I need to have. And when it's missing, I'm like, okay, this is not complete. This is not thorough. And I was really impressed with some of the information that it was able to present in a logical way. So first off, it gives me my business case. Who was it prepared by? The dates for it being prepared, a nice executive summary. What is the business case? Problem statement, proposed solution. These are key things that, whenever you're doing any kind of project, what are we trying to solve here? And so it lists all of those items out. What are the benefits of it? My project charter. I asked it for a project charter. You might not have a project charter within your business case, but I'm like, I might as well put it in there. So then not only does it give me my charter, but it also gives me what my objectives are for this particular project. And I asked it for key results, which is pretty important because how are we measuring that we're successful? So it gives options for key results that I can use. Now, of course, as an organization, I may have additional key results that I need to adhere to, so I can make an update as needed, but I can go through and maybe even get inspired for some of the things I didn't think about that are important for measuring success. Then we have a high level timeline, and then of course, proposed budgets. I'm gonna keep that. And if for some reason there's something I forgot, like one of the things that I don't see here within the project charter that they list. I don't see who's the project manager. So I need a space for identifying the project manager. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna ask CoPilot to list the responsibilities of the implementation project manager. That, and I'll let it go from there. So as you can see, something that would have taken maybe weeks to complete and even tens of thousands of dollars to create, you can do it in a relatively short time, already saving money and finding value in it. Now, of course, you're going to go in there and make some updates as need be, but in this instance, notice it kind of lists out what the expectations are, and then I can go and refine it as I see fit. Also notice, thank you, a new update where it automatically saves it with an appropriate name. Because I would tell you, sometimes I had all these different documents. I'm like document 1, 2, and 3. I was like, but what is it about? But now it automatically gives it a title. Now, of course, if I want to change, I can just go in here and make that changes as anything. Now, with all that being said, I need to create a kickoff document potentially for this. So I'm going to go into PowerPoint. Now, I will say PowerPoint is still under work. So there are a couple of things that you may find a little interesting here and
Lisa,
there.
But Jasmine, we've got only a few minutes left. So I just want to make sure you're cognizant of that.
Okay, so yeah, I'll just really quickly show you how you can leverage this to create a quick presentation from a file that you've already, like say, create from file. And I'm just going to grab this file and say, create from file a kickoff deck. Kickoff deck. Put in there. I'll let it do its thing. And while it's working on that, I'm going to share one other CoPilot. I want to show you Excel, but since we have such a short period of time, I'll show you my favorite CoPilot while that's still working in the background. And that is my Teams CoPilot. Or maybe I won't show my Teams CoPilot. I don't think Teams is letting me share with you today. Oh, I gotta copy and paste it. Sorry about that. It does that. In the meantime, I'm going to jump over to Excel. So this is a listing of different employees in a particular area. So in this instance, these are all those who will potentially help us with the implementation. So I'm going to ask CoPilot to help me use my data a little, find insights on the data. So first, I'm going to ask it for suggested columns, formulas for columns. Let it do its thing. It'll start thinking about it. And then I'm going to, after it gives me a suggestion for what I could potentially add, I can then add that right into it. So it's giving me a suggestion for total compensation. I'm gonna hit insert, and then and it'll also, I really like this because it'll also explain there you go, there it goes. And then I'll say, can you highlight all skills, all skills that contain Epic and Azure. Now this is, live. I haven't actually asked this yet of my data. But let's see what it is, because that's something that's interesting. Because I'm doing an Epic to add Epic on Azure implementation, I need to know who is doing what. Oh, it's not a table, so that's why let me make sure this is a table.
Hey, Jasmine.
Yeah, go ahead.
We got to leave time for the next presenter, if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, no problem. So point being, as you can see, you can add tables, you can go through that. And I won't go through my remaining slides. I'll just leave it at that. If you want to see additionally how you can leverage the different features within the CoPilot, feel free to reach out to any one of us.